Hello and welcome to podcast number 10, which is the final podcast of this series. Today's podcast is all about surrender. Surrender and empowerment. The previous podcasts that I've done have probably been just me really listening to my own thoughts, recording them and then sharing them. But I think that's been a progression, and I've been struggling to think of the final podcast, and then it dawned on me today, whilst I was sat with a very good friend of mine, talking about life, that surrender to everything is the key. So if you want to fast track forward, miss the previous 9 podcasts and just listen to the 10th podcast, then I'm sure this podcast contains everything that I've already said in the previous ones. So surrender to what? Surrender to God, surrender to yourself, surrender to everything. Because when we surrender, we experience freedom, and we experience a deep-rooted sense of freedom. Freedom from all the pressures of the outside world, freedom from the pressures of our own upbringing, our own conditioning. Basic freedom, surrender is freedom. And today it became very apparent to me that surrender is the step that we all need to take to free ourselves from the burden of life. Now, in our language, surrender is weakness, but on a spiritual level, surrender is empowerment. Because when you are free, because you have surrendered, you're empowered. No one can influence you. No one can bully you. Nobody can influence you. You're free, and surrender is the waking up from the dreamlike state of what we perceive to be reality, which is nothing more than a dream. Those dreams are caused by thoughts and judgment. Thoughts create judgment. Judgment creates thoughts. It's sort of a perpetual situation. It just keeps going round and round and round and round. And then maybe some of you are sitting there thinking, yeah, but what does he really mean by surrender? And surrender is just letting go. Whatever comes, comes. Whatever goes, goes. And that's it. That's complete surrender. And the serenity of everything is that deep understanding that everything is going to be fine. Everything is fine. And your path is taking you to where you need to be. And that is back to yourself, back to your true self, back to your godliness. So when you think surrender, think of empowerment. Think of yourself empowered to do anything, to be anything, to achieve anything. And that sense of empowerment is wonderful. And when you have that sense of empowerment, there is no need to do anything, to achieve anything, or to be anything. That's why it's empowerment. Oh, I'm empowered now. What should I do next? Well, the answer to that is absolutely nothing. Just be. Because you have achieved everything. And then let life take its natural course. Let life just flow, and let life lead you to where you need to be led. Let life give you the experiences that you need to continue to grow. For a seed to grow, the seed needs to be destroyed to allow growth. If anybody is watching that process and doesn't understand the reasoning of growth, then all they would see is destruction. But growth is destruction. Growth is destroying everything that is not part of you, not part of the real you. And if you feel that you need to cling on to something that you identify with as being you, then that's where you need to start looking. And that's where you need to loosen that grip on holding on to something that is not real. The only thing that is real is God, is life. That life energy. Brahman. And surrender contains everything. So surrender is a positive. When you surrender, you become empowered. When you are empowered, you don't want to surrender. So surrender comes first before empowerment. People that seek power, that seek empowerment, they will eventually be forced to surrender, but not from the inside out, but from the outside in. Life that takes place is just a figment of our imagination. That is what takes place on the outside, that which takes place within us. That is our reality. When we understand who we are and what we are, then we can truly surrender. So thank you for listening to all these podcasts, and choose to do with them what you will. And I wish you all the greatest success in surrendering to life.